Hey everyone, welcome back. And if you're new, my name is Chris. Today is all about vanilla fragrances for vanilla lovers. I already filmed my gateway vanilla fragrances, and that video I highly recommend you check out because some of my very favorite vanillas are in that video. I tried to pull, I think, 15 fragrances that only a vanilla lover could love, and I only have one holdover from the last video. So if you want to see what I've picked for today's video, keep watching. First one on the list is a designer vanilla. It's a vanilla that I've loved for at least 2 years. It smells like a cupcake on me, and it's by Lancome, and it is called La Nuit Tresor à la Folie. If you haven't smelled this before, this has red currant, pear, pink pepper, and just a little bit of rose. But to make it simple, this smells like a pear and red currant cupcake on me. It smells so good on me. It lasts all day. It's not super overwhelming, so it won't overwhelm those around you, but anybody who comes into my little scent bubble thinks I smell so good. And this is one of those fragrances that I just keep pulling when it's a little bit chilly. It just makes me smell good and feel good. I love this one. Next up is a vanilla that I've had in my collection for probably the longest. This is at least my second bottle, and I've had this at least 10 years. And it is called Vaniglia de Madagascar. This vanilla smells like a European patisserie. This smells like a bakery. It's a beautiful, light, and airy and sweet vanilla, but it's not too sweet. It goes right up to the edge of being too sweet, but it stays in that perfect zone for me. This one's very light, very airy. It has a touch of lemon. There's a little bit of amber and a floral note, but vanilla is the star. This one, you really have to love vanilla because as it dries down, it does get sweeter. It's not a super overwhelming vanilla. It does stay kind of close, so you're not going to overwhelm anyone around you. That's why it really works out for me, because I can wear it to work and it's not going to overpower those near me. But yeah, vanilla that I've had in my collection the longest, and I love it. Next up is a vanilla that I've had as long as this has been out. It is by the House of Dawn Perfumery, and it is called Black Flower Mexican Vanilla. Not a vanilla for everyone. There's some odd notes in here that don't seem to go together, and it's a very thick, very gourmand vanilla. So the flowers in here are jasmine and gardenia. There's no black flowers. And it starts off with a burst of the florals and a heavy burst of citrus notes. I think there's lemon and grapefruit. And then it heads into this very thick, creamy, ooey gooey vanilla that's got, I think there's nutmeg, I think there's caramel in here. Basically what this smells like is a very thick and high quality vanilla ice cream. Take some graham crackers, crumble them up, put them in your little ice cream bowl, pour some caramel on top, and then squeeze some lemon and grapefruit. And that's what you have here. Again, not for everyone. Maybe that's why I don't hear anyone talk about this one. But for some reason, I can't stop buying it and I can't stop wearing it. Well, I take that back. I will stop wearing it in about June because this is a very thick and heavy vanilla. It's not a vanilla for the hot months. So I will say goodbye next month or so to this vanilla, and I will pull it back out because there's something about it that's just so addictive and intoxicating to me. But yeah, Black Flower Mexican Vanilla. Next up is by the House of Montale, and that is my Intense Cafe. I show this all the time. Gorgeous, gorgeous, jammy, vanillic rose with coffee. I have this in Deluxe, but this one pulls more vanilla on me. There's something about this fragrance when I wear it. It smells so good. It's just so intoxicating. I keep sniffing my wrists all day, and when I wear it, those around me say, you just smell so good. A beautiful, gourmand vanilla that deserves to be in my list. Next up is a vanilla by Serge Lutens, and it is called Umbravani. I'm pretty sure there are vanilla lovers out there that do not like this one. It's a peculiar vanilla. It's got some interesting notes in it, but this one and I, we get along just fine. I get straight up beeswax when I first sniff this, so it reminds me of summer. So there's beeswax, it's a little bit woody, there's some almond notes in here, there's coconut milk, and thank goodness I did not check the notes before I purchased this last year. I think I got this at the beginning of summer, and there is licorice in this fragrance. Licorice and I, well, we are not BFFs. Thank goodness I get zero licorice in this one. So Umbravani, I like it a lot. Next up is a vanilla I have to thank one of my subscribers for, and her name is Karen. And she recommended this vanilla to me, and I couldn't be more thrilled. And it is by the House of Maison Francis Courtejan, and it is called Gentle Fluidity Gold. I love this vanilla. It is so pretty and light and fluffy and sweet. It is a sweet ambery vanilla for sure, but when it dries down nice and powdery and a little bit musky. I think you do have to like your sweet vanillas, because a couple times when people have smelled this on me, they said, wow, that smells good, it smells sweet. And a few people have actually thought I was wearing Intense Cafe when I wore this. Now, it is similar to Intense Cafe, but when you wear Intense Cafe and this one side by side like I have, there are definite differences. Number one, this one has no coffee note, but just a light, beautiful, sweet vanilla that I will wear more in the cold months, but I think this is a great vanilla for vanilla lovers. Gentle Fluidity Gold. Next up is the only carryover that I have from my Gateway Vanilla video. It is by the House of Arquiste, and it is called the Architects Club. I finally got my full bottle of this after babying my little travel spray for a couple years. This vanilla is such a likable vanilla. It's likable, I think, for even people who are afraid of vanilla, but vanilla lovers, I think, would really like this as well. It is just a woody, aromatic vanilla. The vanilla is very natural. It's not a foodie vanilla. And the aromatic notes in this are supposed to give it a martini vibe. So there's juniper berry in here, there's a little bit of lemon, and there is angelica. The same angelica that is in Angelique Noir, but it's not quite as prominent. This is just a beautiful, natural vanilla that dries down a little bit woody, and there's just a little touch of leather in the dry down. Absolutely gorgeous, one of my favorite vanillas. And when I spray this, my husband says, oh gosh, what are you wearing? You smell so good. So yep, right at the top of my list is the Architects Club. Next up is a vanilla by the House of Guerlain, and that is called Nuit. This is a very dark, very resinous vanilla with spices. There's a heavy dose of clove. It's a little bit smoky, and there is some leather in the dry down. So solidly in the unisex category, not for everyone. This starts off really, really strong, but then it quiets down very, very quickly. So not my favorite vanilla, but one that I like to wear when it's a little bit colder outside, because it's really resinous and spicy and smoky. So yeah, Louis. Next up is one of two vanillas by the House of Nishane. The first one is 100 Silent Ways. I've talked about this in several of my videos. This is a beautiful vanillic floral. The flowers in here are tuberose, jasmine, and gardenia. They are blended so perfectly with a gorgeous, gorgeous vanilla. Sandalwood gives it a little bit of creaminess, and there's just a touch of peach. This made my powerhouse video for a reason. 3 sprays, you will smell this all day long, and people with something on their face will smell it too. Gorgeous, beautiful, probably my favorite vanillic floral that I own. Gorgeous. 100 Silent Ways. You cannot have a vanilla lovers video without showing the second one by Nishant Ani. This one is my fancy upscale vanilla with character. This is spicy, this is zingy, this is tangy, there's pink pepper, there's bergamot, and there's ginger that gives this vanilla a beautiful brightness. So the gorgeous thick vanilla is just brightened up. It's lightened a little bit. This one was also in my powerhouse fragrances for a reason. 3 sprays of this will get you all day long. It is a gorgeous vanilla, one of my favorites, and one of the few vanillas that I will be wearing in the summertime. Ani. Next up is my spicy, smoky, and resinous vanilla. I think you know which one that is. Lune Feline. Boy, this wins the prize for the smokiest vanilla of all time. When I first spray this, it's almost too smoky for me. It goes right up to the edge of being too smoky, and that's probably from that really heavy dose of cardamom and the resins. I think there's Peru balsam in this. When I first sprayed this, I walked around the house and my husband said I smelled like a house fire. It's so smoky, but then it kind of dries down. It becomes this beautiful, woody, a little bit spicy, resinous vanilla. To me, this is kind of like By the Fireplace on steroids. By the Fireplace is like a toned down version of Lune Feline. This one I will be putting away for the season. This one is one I wear when it's cold, but has great character. It's very unique. I love it, Lune Feline. Next up is probably my favorite gourmand at the moment. It is by Tatiana Terence, and it is called Al Contrario. I love this fragrance. Oh, I wore it all over the winter time. Absolutely in love with it. It's got notes that are all over the place. That's why it's called Al Contrario, which means, I think, to the contrary. It starts off with the floral note. There's orchid. As I've talked about before, orchid is a fantasy note. It's supposed to smell like a spicy exotic flower. But there's cacao, there's vanilla, there's hazelnut, ebony woods. What you need to know is this dries down into the most beautiful, beautiful gourmand fragrance. To me, it smells like the most decadent vanilla pudding and a tiramisu cheesecake combined. Absolutely love this. It is very foodie, so you have to like vanillas to enjoy this one. But top of my list right here, Al Contrario. Next one is a foodie vanilla all the way, and they have to really like very sweet foodie vanillas to like this one. Fortunately, I like those type of vanillas. It's called Gâteau de Carnaval, which translates into carnival cake. This is a straight up funnel cake. I know what that smells like because in my local zoo, the first thing you smell when you walk in is funnel cake, because there's a funnel cake kiosk. It is the most intoxicating smell. I love it. The notes in this are cupcake, brown sugar, whipped cream, and apricot. It's basically a funnel cake with whipped cream. It's very buttery, it's very doughy, it's very sweet, it's very foodie. I love this one, guilty pleasure vanilla for sure. The second to last fragrance on my list is a fragrance that I've had on my wish list for several months, ever since I got a lovely sample from a friend of mine, and once I sniffed it, it went straight up to the top of my wish list, and it stayed there for a couple months until I finally took the plunge and purchased it recently, and that is called Angelique Noir by the House of Guerlain. The reason why I was never interested in smelling this is because green notes don't appeal to me. When I think of green notes, I think of grass clippings or lawnmower clippings. That couldn't be further from the truth here. What makes this fragrance green? And if you're afraid of green notes like I was, I'm here to tell you not to be afraid. What makes this green is the angelica. And angelica is a plant that's part of the celery family. And it smells like a celery, but it's a little more peppery, it's a little bit musky, and it's sweeter. And that, with a note of pear, kind of gives it its uniqueness, its character. It's an absolutely beautiful, decadent, lovely vanilla. It dries down a little bit powdery, so you have to like powdery vanillas. But let me tell you, this is just a gorgeous vanilla that you shouldn't be afraid of trying if you are afraid of green notes. This is one of my favorite vanillas right now, and it's gorgeous, classic beauty, Angelique Noir. The last fragrance on my list is a fragrance thanks to the lovely Karine at Olfactive Stories. She's the one that told me about this beautiful fragrance, and it is called Shalamar Colon. Eau de Toilette, it's very confusing. It says Cologne here, and then it says Eau de Toilette on the bottom. But it's Shalamar Colon, and it is absolutely lovely, and I never would have known about it if Karine had talked about it in one of her videos and told me about it. She basically said that this smelled like Lush American cream, and I love Lush. I love American cream, so of course I had to get my hands on this right away. It does smell similar. American cream has a little bit more patchouli, but this is my favorite, hands down, flanker of Shalamar, period. I was really kind of heartbroken when none of the souffles worked for me, and I tried every one of them. I was just heartbroken, and that was until this little beauty came into my life, and then I was like, souffle who? This is gorgeous. This is everything I want in a vanilla. This is probably, if not my favorite vanilla right now, certainly one of my favorite vanillas, because it has vanilla and it has very bright citrusy notes. Lemon, lime, and I think a little bit of bergamot, maybe grapefruit. This is the best of Shalamar. So take Shalamar, pull out that civet, the animalic note, make the vanilla really light and fluffy and airy, and add a blast of very crisp, beautiful citrus notes, and this is what you have. It is a gorgeous, gorgeous Shalamar flanker. The bad news is it's a little bit harder to find, so I am kind of scooping up bottles so that I will always have this in my fragrance wardrobe. But thank you, Karine, for this beautiful, beautiful Shalamar that I absolutely adore. So that was it, my vanilla for vanilla lovers. Thank you for sticking around to the very end. I know it was a little bit lengthy, but vanilla is a note I really, really enjoy. Coming up, I'm going to do a coconut series. So I have a lot of coconut fragrances as well, so I'm going to have to divide that into two parts. I think I'll do kind of like a high-end coconut fragrances and an affordable coconut fragrances video. So thanks again for watching, and I will see you for the next one.